So now let's get into the meat of our understanding, our comprehension, that action or capability of understanding something. When we read, we actually ask and answer questions to demonstrate our understanding of a text. And we've got to really refer directly to the text as a basis for our answers. In order to do all this, we use our schema to connect, to make predictions, and to ask questions. And so in that way, we're able to better understand or comprehend what we read. Here's a song about connecting. I will not sing it, but feel free to sing it to the tune of Bingo. A reminder of schema. It's all the things you already know. You can think of like file folders in your brain. As you learn new things, you add to your file folders, but then as you adjust your thinking, you can take things out. And in this way, your knowledge grows and expands. Let's take a closer look at connecting. Connecting is something that we as readers tend to do often. I've got this book here about a boy, a dog, and a frog. And so I can look at this and I can make lots of connections. Oh, wow, this boy's catching a frog. I've caught a frog before. Uh-oh. Hey, the frog's really far away. I remember one time when I went out to a pond and I was trying to catch frogs, I was not able to get to them because they were too far away. I gave up and I went home too. Now anybody can make a connection, but it's really about making those meaningful connections. A quality connection is kind of like a completed circuit. The connection just has to flow from your brain and the text and then come back again to the text. Here's an example from the boy, a dog, and a frog. I tried to catch a frog and I was mad it jumped away. But don't let the connection end here. Plug it back in to understand the character's feelings. By thinking about how I felt at that time trying to catch a frog with the frog jumping away, I remember I was angry. And so now I'm starting to connect that the boy is really angry with the frog. I'm completing that connection circuit from the book to my brain and then back to the book again. I think I know how the boy feels. I think he's really angry with the frog because when I tried to catch a frog, it jumped away and I was mad. So I think the boy is mad and angry with the frog because that's how I would feel. Another key to kind of asking and answering questions about a text is actually making predictions. And it's like you're gazing into the future. You are using your schema and the text clues to predict and think about what's going to happen. Again, here's a song to the tune of Mary Had a Little Lamb to help you remember that when you make predictions, you confirm them and you revise them as you go. Here's an example of how I might predict before I read a book. I've looked at the title and the cover, and so I'm predicting that a class will have some kind of a contest to name something because I notice a girl is putting something written into the jar, and the title is The Name Jar. It's always important when you predict that you base that prediction on some kind of evidence. I've used the evidence of the title and the evidence in the illustration here to make that strong prediction. Questioning is at the heart of understanding. We ask questions. A song to remind you to the tune of Frere Jacques. When we question, we ask questions before we start to read, as we do when we predict. During the reading or while we're reading, our brains are questioning. And then, sometimes after we read, we have new questions that we didn't have before. We'll practice this together, but for now, just put the flaps in your folder to prepare. Make sure you only glue down on that strip. Here's what I really love about questioning. There are basically two types of questions when it comes to working with a text. There are those questions on the surface. They're right there where you can literally find the answer. You go back in the text and you pull out that direct evidence. They're easy to confirm. Our below the surface questions ask us to really dive in using our metacognition. That's when we have to use the text for clues, and then we mix it in with our thinking to come up with the answer. Here's some practice for you. This is a clip I took off of a website online advertising the Butterfly Flutterby annual event. Read this selection and then examine these questions. See if you can find the answer directly in the text for an on-the-surface question, or if you have to dive down deep and use your metacognition and the clues to come up with an answer.